Thanks for everybody for coming out today. This is a big day for the Minnesota Wild and the Iowa Wild organization. First I'd like to welcome Brett's family here. I have to read because I know I'm going to screw them up, and I know you guys. I've known you for 4 years, but Brett's wife Brenna, his daughter Darian, and his boys Nixon and Nash. Big day for you guys, and we're really happy about it. So congrats to you. Brett is the 5th coach in Iowa Wild history, and this is a big decision. And Mac, we are extremely happy and really glad that you took this. And we just think the world of you, and you're going to do a great job for us. So congratulations and thank you. And last thing I would like to say. Hi to all our fans watching on our YouTube channel down in Des Moines. This is a big day. We're giving a lot of responsibility, well-earned responsibility to Brett, and we have all the confidence in the world in him. So congrats, Mac.
Boys will be fighting over that jersey.
I think it goes to your daughter. Yeah. So now we'll pass the mic over to Mac.
Thanks, Billy. And I'd like to, first of all, thank Bill, obviously, and Craig Leopold, Matt Maka, Todd Fredrickson, and Mike Murray, and everyone in the Wild organization for this opportunity. I just couldn't be more excited for the chance to work back with the Iowa Wild and to be the head coach there. And obviously I have to thank my beautiful wife Brenna and Darian, Nixon, and Nash for allowing us to continue this incredible hockey journey that we're on, and really looking forward to heading back to Des Moines. Vicky?
Yeah, Brett, congratulations. Has being a head coach always been kind of aspiration for you after your career was over playing wise, and what made this the right time to make that transition from the NHL bench to Iowa there?
Well, to be honest, I just enjoy coaching at any level, whether it's the American Hockey League or National Hockey League or Pee-wees or mites, whatever level it may be. So my aspiration was more to coach, and I think as I got into it more, then the opportunity to be a head coach was something that I was looking forward to, but I wasn't necessarily pining for it or didn't need it to happen on a certain timeline or anything like that. And I really, really enjoyed my job here in Minnesota. So that made it, when Bill approached me, that was a big part of the decision-making process, was not only how it would impact my family, but also not working with the Minnesota Wild on an everyday basis. Obviously, I still would be working with the Minnesota Wild, just in a different role. So as far as the timing of it, it's just how it worked out. When Bill called, I again wasn't sure if this was the right time at first, but as we worked through the process and I talked to my family, it became very clear that this was the right time to make this move.
Brett, congrats. Just looking at your time in Iowa, what excites you most about going back there, knowing what you know about the organization and the location, the place, everything about it?
Well, there's so many great things about the city of Des Moines and the state of Iowa, and the people there are just fantastic, as they are in Minnesota. So looking forward to reconnecting with all of our friends and all of our great fans with the Iowa Wild there as well. But first and foremost is the opportunity to work with the prospects. We have so many fantastic prospects, and working in the American Hockey League is so much fun because they're so eager and they have a lot to learn and they're ready to learn it. And I think another factor which makes this exciting for myself is I know the way Bill Guerin, Dean Evison, and everybody wants our players to play with the Minnesota Wild. I've been in those rooms, I've been in those meetings, so I really feel that can help our players, and especially help myself and our staff as well, to teach these players the way we want them to play for the Minnesota Wild so that they can win with the Minnesota Wild.
Bill, you've been around Brett for a while here. Just what do you learn the most about him in terms of him as a coaching and his personality, or just the way, he works with the players, that you give the belief in him to do this?
Well, yeah, I mean, I didn't know Brett, before I came here, and just getting to know him over the last 4 years. On the hockey front, it's been impressive to see how he does work one-on-one with the players, his approach to the different personalities that we have in the dressing room, how he can, get to different players, and help them have success. You can tell that he was, I knew him as a player, and he's just a hockey player. And that's a huge compliment. And I think as a coach as well, he's just a player in a coach's body. So the way he can kind of get his message out and things like that is something that's that's an advantage for him, or something that he's very good at. Detail-wise too. I love the detail that he puts into it, the passion that he puts into it, his belief in what we're doing, and the belief in all the players as individuals as well. And I really feel good about this decision for many reasons, but the other one was the time that Mac took to make his final decision of accepting this job. It wasn't easy. There was there's a big family issue that they had to work out. This is a big move. They have kids in that are very happy here in Minnesota, and this is a tough move, but they did it as a family, and to me, those are the type people that we want in our organization, that take the whole picture and kind of dissect it and see if it's the right move for them. And I just like that process that we went through, or he went through with his family, and he's got the support so he can jump in full steam ahead, and you just need that with these types of decisions.
Hey, Mac, congratulations on the job. As a guy that played under a bunch of coaches and coached with so many different coaches throughout your career, what are some of the traits that you hope to take from some of those previous coaches you either played for or coached with, and apply as a head coach?
Well, I appreciate you alluding to my journeyman career, Joe, that I played for.
I'm with you, buddy. I'm with you.
Played for a whole bunch of different coaches, so thanks for that. But no, I think that's a big advantage to myself as a coach, is that I did travel a lot of different places and have the opportunity to play for many different coaches, most of them good, some of them not so good, and you take a little bit from everyone that you work under and work with, and so I've been very fortunate in that respect, and I think that will help me and has helped me relate to players throughout the years, and will help me definitely in this new role. And then also it's the mentorship aspect of it that a coach always brings, and I think that'll be a big one that I take a lot of pride in, is you want to be a role model, you want to be a mentor to these young people, and I've certainly had one of the best mentors in Dean Evison the last few years, so I'll be taking a lot of what I've learned from him and applying that.
Brett, Bill mentioned the family aspect of this decision. Logistically, what does the next few months look like, or how quickly will you guys get down to Des Moines, and I guess how long will you guys stay here before you make that move?
Well, as we all know, anybody that's worked with the Wild, it's about a 3.5-hour drive to Des Moines straight down I-35, so lots of opportunity to get down there, and whether it's to find a place to live or to look at the locker room and make the changes we want to make on that. But as far as my family's concerned, they will continue to live here in Minnesota, and again, lots of opportunity for them to come and visit, and hopefully the coach isn't too tough on the guys down there, and there'll be some days off where I can get up here to come and visit. And yeah, it's, again, that was, as Bill talked about, it was a big part of our decision, and my family is very, very happy here, and so we decided that they will continue to live in the Twin Cities. And as far as this summer looks, it's going to be a lot of planning, getting with Mike. We started already this morning, and talking about planning and what we want to do with schedule and what we're doing with free agency and all those good things. So we'll start working on that right away. And again, with the other stuff in Des Moines, we're going down there tomorrow, so we'll start working down there as well and start that process.
They actually started talking about knocking down walls in the dressing room and offices and this and that. We do have a budget.
As long as I get to keep my P card, then maybe
Yeah,
there's something on that.
you can keep that.
Brett, I know you make an impact as an assistant coach, but now this is your program. This is your team. Like, you learn from all your coaches you've had in your career, but what are some general philosophies or ideas you have as a coach of how you want your team to play, about culture or anything like that you always believed in?
Well, obviously that's a huge thing. The culture, environment is huge, especially at the American Hockey League level. So that'll be very, very important. As far as how our team, we want them to play, a lot of it will align with the way Minnesota wants a team to play, clearly, but you have to put your own stamp on it as a head coach, as you talked about. So I want our team to play with speed. Has to play with speed. I want it to be relentless. That's huge. It's a big word for me. And discipline is massive. And I think those three words apply to on-ice play, but I think even more so they can apply to off-ice. And to practice days. And I think that's really important for players at the American Hockey League level, especially prospects. So when you think about speed, you think about you want to practice fast and with pace. So that's very, very important. So that's every day. We're going to expect the players ready to go in practice, locked in, and doing things right. Relentless. That's being on pucks, hard on pucks, never give up attitude. Of course, those things are important during games. But it's also for a prospect that maybe things aren't going the way they want to in the dog days of winter. And they're sitting on the bus somewhere, and it seems like the NHL is so far away. We want them to have a relentless attitude to get better. So that they're just always looking to get better every single day. And then discipline, of course, applies to on ice. It applies to penalties, right? But it also applies to playing within the system that we want to play. These players are going to have a lot of freedom in Iowa to use their skill, to develop their skill, but they've got to do it within the framework of the team. But on the discipline side, that applies to off-ice as well, in that we want to make sure they're taking care of themselves, they're doing things right off the ice and away from the rink to give themselves the best chance to perform. So those are some core philosophies that we'll have.
Mac, development in the American Hockey League is paramount, but you also need, obviously, the older players to sort of help win games, and there's so much talk about developing and winning going hand in hand. For a minute, could you just talk about that dynamic and not only getting guys where they want to be, but also that winning culture that's needed?
Yeah, of course, that any coach that stands on a bench at any level is going to want to win that game, and it wants to be a top team in their league. Where the American Hockey League is a bit unique is that, of course, we still want to win, but there's such a huge priority, and it is the number one priority, is on developing our prospects. Another thing that's unique about the American Hockey League is to win and to be a good team, your prospects have to develop. You look at every team that wins in the American Hockey League and every team that is playing and still the American Hockey League playoffs, it's their prospects that are driving it. And we actually just had this conversation in the back, a couple of teams that we'd like to model ourselves after, in that they're at the start of the season, the first half of the year, they maybe weren't playing at the level they wanted to as a team or getting the results they wanted, but they really grew toward the end of the year, and it's because they were committed to playing their young players. Of course, you have to have the right veterans around them. You have to have those good people to lead the way. But to win in the American Hockey League, you have to make sure that your prospects are developing, which obviously falls in line with that number one mandate, which is to get them ready to help the Minnesota Wild.
Bill, obviously when you make a change like this, you want to see some different elements with the coaching staff for the program in Iowa. What are some things you want to see, and what are things that you probably think Brett can do for that program that can, whether it's the culture, whether it's the way they train, anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think, what Brett just said is exactly that. And that's one of the first things that we talked about was, he gets to go down and create his own culture down there. That's very important. And I believe, that he knows what he's doing, and he's going to create something very similar to what we have up here. Like you said, he's been learning through Dean. He's, been living this, seeing the transformation that we've gone through. And not that we had a bad one before, but I think it can get even better. And, it can be, from what Mac believes in. And, like he said, guys got to play fast. They have to be disciplined. They have to be relentless. They have to take care of themselves. They have to do learn all these things as professionals in order to help them get to Minnesota and help us win. There's so many things, but those are a couple of the big ones that I see.